I am a LinkedIn ads expert, that's what we do. What I am going to talk about is how you're going to be able to brand yourself on LinkedIn. So a little bit about me. My name is Yoel Israel. I'm originally from Philly, and I'm kind of, yeah, right? That's it, one person. And I'm a total fanatic about LinkedIn, and I'm a total fanatic about lead generation, and I am such a LinkedIn nerd. I even wore my LinkedIn socks today, which I wear like once a week. I have a couple pairs. Yeah, so let's get right started. So how are you going to brand yourself, right? By show of hand here, how many people have a general title on their LinkedIn? Show of hands, right? Content marketer, social media manager, right? So if I'm looking to hire you, and let's say I search on LinkedIn, or I just search, how am I going to be able to differentiate you in a moment from anyone else? Or better yet, why aren't you showing up on LinkedIn search? Why aren't you being relevant? So these are some of the things we're going to talk about so we can make you much more, brand yourself much better as a content marketer, as a marketer in general, social media manager. So let's get right into a little bit about LinkedIn. This is stuff you probably already know. This actually, since this slide is like already out of date, it was from a couple months ago. So about 500 million people are actively on LinkedIn. Who here does not have a LinkedIn profile? Raise your hand. Okay, so literally everyone. And everyone looked around because I was like, I want to see the person who doesn't. And I'm sure if there's one of you here probably didn't raise their hand. Anyway, but probably the big number here is over 60 million social influencers. So there's a lot of people that we can reach. Anyone we want to reach professionally is on LinkedIn. Not just are they on LinkedIn, but it's the place where everyone goes for professional development, looking for solutions than anywhere else. So if you're sick of the cat videos, and if you're sick of seeing other people's family and their kids, and there's nothing different, nothing changes, that's great, another day with you and your kids, or you and your pet, or you and walking the park, and you look for things that maybe you can grow, that can stimulate thought. People spend their time on LinkedIn. That is not, it's the number one, and basically almost the only platform. There are others like Quora and subreddits that are also valuable. But I'm going to talk about the number one by far, and it's LinkedIn, and how we're going to be able to brand you as experts. So it's the professional platform, and keep that in mind because we're all here, the same reason you're here today, to grow professionally, is the same reason you're on LinkedIn. But see, you might come out to learn more in person. You might spend time in traffic for Tel Aviv, which is brutal, but something you can easily do is sit on LinkedIn. You can help promote and brand yourself. So, okay, these are things that you're all very familiar with, but I want to go into it from an expert perspective, right? So we all know about the cover photo and the name, which are all very important. We're going to get to all this. But there are a lot of things that are a little underrated. I want to talk a little about articles and recommendations here, and then I'm going to get into more things later on. So articles is a great way to promote yourself. When you're on your page, you can actually see what people post. If you don't post anything, people won't think that you actually produce content. Now, since we all here are big fans of content producers, and since, as Eitan said, we broke the internet, right? So we want to make sure that people are seeing our content on the one platform where people are looking for the most. Another thing I want to talk about is recommendations. I was talking to Miriam Schwab, who was speaking earlier about this, spoke earlier. I was speaking to her about this because I've recommended her. I use Stratic. I use their service for our website, and that I've recommended them. But one thing about people always look about collecting recommendations. Now it is true, when you see recommendations on your LinkedIn, you see how many received and given. They're right next to each other. And a couple populate from each, and you can take a look. And you shouldn't always be looking to receive recommendations, but it's important to give back. It's important who you've given recommendations to. So even though asking for a recommendation might be difficult, but giving a recommendation, people are happy to receive them and might even share them, right? Like Eitan discussed with you, when you tag another company, they're happy to share it. This is a great LinkedIn strategy in general. But what you're able to do is make sure that you're actually recommending people that you work with. And what happens is you're branding yourself as someone who's associated with them. So let's say a big name like Wix, who a lot from Wix spoke earlier, if let's say you did any work or you didn't work for Wix, you should be recommending them. It was great working with, let's say a lot at Wix, so then it shows that, wow, this person writes for Wix, right? They didn't need to recommend you. You didn't need to do anything. You don't need to build a website and get their logo and all that. All you had to do was write them a short recommendation. So these are other things that people need to focus on. All right, so here's the top of LinkedIn. So first and foremost, it's important to have a picture of yourself. I know this sounds pretty elementary. It's also important that you kind of look like your photos. Do I look like him? I grew my hair out a little bit since. Other than that, thankfully I haven't changed much, because I think this picture is like a couple years old. Another thing is to focus on is your cover photo. So think about cover photos that you have seen on people's LinkedIn profiles. I want you to think about yours, right? So when you're trying to brand yourself as an expert, it's important that you do show that you're an expert. So if you're speaking on stage, you see a lot of people have that's their Facebook pictures, you see they're behind a podium. See, that's effective branding. That means people want to come and hear this person. But if you're, let's say, social media, your content, there should be maybe a picture of you typing away on your laptop, or you writing, or an outline, or something cool about you and interactive. You want to present yourself as what you do, because the person's going to capture your cover photo in the first second. The truth is, 95% of the time, I made up that number, but let's go with it, people don't go beyond here on LinkedIn when they come to your profile, right? And we're going to focus on here in the title, we're going to go into depth in a moment. So make sure that your photo and your cover photo are on point. Another thing I want to talk about is your title, and we're going to get to this in a little bit more, is that this is how you are shown everywhere. The first few words is imperative. Not just you want to show up in search engines, in LinkedIn search, and you'll show up in search, like Google search and Bing search and DuckDuckGo, for example, your LinkedIn profile. If people search for your name or people search for certain things, you will see LinkedIn profiles show up from time to time. I'm sure you might have seen it. But what you want to do is you also want to make sure that you're able to differentiate yourself, which is what I opened up with, right? So if you're just, let's say, I'm an advertiser for B2B clients. I could have easily wrote, right? I could have written CEO and founder of WadiDigital. Oh, great, but as far as most people know, okay, what's that? Just another marketing agency, right? So how are you differentiating yourself? Oh, another content writer. Great, but if you're writing content for tech, why not write content writer for tech? Why not write, if your content is focused on, let's say, driving lead generation, or focusing on, let's say, focus just on white papers or ebook or wherever your content is, you should put that in your title. So when people know and look for that, or people recommend it, that you're there. You're the person they're going to speak to. They're not going to know that just by looking for a content marketer. Now, additionally, this is, we're going to get to this a little bit later because it goes together with it, is one, obviously your profile, which we're going to finish up on in a moment after the next slide. But I want to talk about when you see this. This is a snippet from a comment, I didn't show the comment, of what it looks like when you actually comment on people's posts. So keep that in mind. You just see the picture, the name, and you see your job title. So I'm just going to talk about this for 1 minute, your summary. Very few people read the summary, and a lot of people say it should be short, and I highly strongly disagree. If anyone reads it, have it be long. A few things you should focus on in your summary that I want you to take a note of is you should speak in the first person, have tone, have personality. Again, you want to brand yourself. You want to stick out. What is it great about you? So don't just go for length, but also go with a call to action. I have a call to action, go to my website, and view my testimonials. Another thing you can do that you can attach to your summary is you can attach your media. So if you have any maybe study recommendations, I have some of my certifications from Google, Bing, LinkedIn, Microsoft. I have them on here. I have me speaking at Israel Ad Tech on the bottom left, the video of it. So what you're able to do is you're able to brand yourself even further. So now I want to get right into engagement. So there's two things, right? One, you want to set up your profile, right? Who's going to be there? It's like a website that doesn't do any marketing. And now as marketers, we understand we have to market ourselves, right? We got to go out to the wild and we have to find the people that we want to bring them back, right? Like what good, I don't remember who said this morning, what good is content, right? If the content wasn't posted, if it didn't get any traction, it wasn't worth, right? Or if a tree falls in the forest and no one was there to hear it, did the tree actually fall, right? Or did it make any noise, rather? So this is the most important. These are some of the hashtags I follow. I'm actually a big fan of productivity hashtag, just a side note, it's a personal love of mine. And so I want you should spend a couple minutes every day looking at these hashtags that are most relevant to you. Content marketing, ContentIsrael, these are great hashtags, right? And click on that hashtag and find other people that you can engage with. Find others, give your comment, give your opinion. If you're going to be an expert, you got to provide your expertise. So I want to make sure that you actually take the time to not just on your newsfeed, but also use hashtags. Another thing about outreach is this is a very taboo topic for some reason. Is people talk about adding people on LinkedIn. So why is it taboo? And I always wondered this, and I think I figured it out. When you add a friend on Facebook, or you add a friend on Instagram or Snapchat, usually you have met. You have a much closer connection to that person before you connect with them on digital. LinkedIn, that is not the case, right? how many times have you accepted a friend or connection request from someone, and you didn't know that person in person, but the profile looks right? You've done it in the job titles, and you see that you have like 200 mutual connections, and maybe you go to the profile and you see, okay, it's worthwhile. I'd like to see more content from this person. So there's nothing wrong with reaching out to people. So I want you to say now the reason why you want to connect with people is for two main reasons. One, you can follow up and you can message them and try to grow your business and your network from them and see if you can do any business together. But the other thing is we're talking about being able to brand yourself. In order to brand yourself, they need to see your content, they need to see your posts, and they need to see how relevant you are. And in order for them to see how relevant you are, they need to be following you. And the only way that when you connect with someone, they automatically follow you on LinkedIn. And people are much more liberal about connecting with people on LinkedIn. When you reach out to someone on LinkedIn, you should almost always, assuming you don't know the person, let's say, you should always write a personal message. And you should have a frame of reference. It shouldn't just be blind at it. So let's say you're following a hashtag, or you're in a LinkedIn group and you're engaging, and you're spending a few minutes in the morning, which I recommend you do every morning, 5 minutes on LinkedIn, just at least comments, is that you should if you find someone that actually gave something worthwhile, some kind of value to you, right? What you should do is, after you would comment and like, which I highly recommend you do, don't just be a lurker, actually participate, is send them a message, something like this. Hi, Jake, I really liked your comment on customer service and marketing, why spiritual lead gen, right? I think we'd better to connect. Something like that. Show up in a second. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to someone that you haven't met, that are in your industry, that you see that can provide value, because you want to follow them. You want their content and information. But also you want them to see your information. Because if they're relevant, if their information is relevant to you, you can put out content that's relevant to them. All right, so this is really where I want to focus on, is making you guys the expert. So I want to just sum up here, is that in order to be an expert, you got to show your expertise. And there are two aspects to it, right? You can think of it as one is the website and the other one is marketing, right? One is writing the content, which we're all familiar with, but then we go and we have to promote the content. So the first is obviously writing the content would be just fixing up your profile, making your job title extremely unique, especially the first several words. So when people see you engage under your name, they see why you're so awesome. People don't care about the company, you work at so much, it's for a huge company. That is not visible, is what your job title is. So therefore you can brand yourself and be worth more value, and go as specific as you can. The more specific and niche you are, the more money that you can charge, because you don't have a lot of competition, and you can say, I focus on, you know what I mean, I focus on white papers only for the cyber industry, and then cyber is huge, especially here in Israel. So when they're looking for white paper ebooks, you can easily charge a lot more. You can focus in and you can brand yourself appropriately. The other thing is that you need to be posting a lot more on LinkedIn. LinkedIn sometimes gets frustrated and cluttered with a lot of banners of, read this ebook, I'm sure we're all familiar with it, or download this content, or whatever it is. And I do a lot of this as a LinkedIn advertiser and for all of our clients. We do that, but it's very important of video. Like Yoel was saying earlier, is I can't tell you how important is video. By show of hand, who here has ever seen one of my videos on LinkedIn on organic? I'm just curious. All right, so we have about 2 dozen. So that admitted to it. So what's important is that people, you doing video of yourself. So you can do something as simple as this. So I spend 5 minutes every morning, and 1 minute video, I go like this, I take a selfie, I'll take a video, and I'll talk about any topic that comes to my mind, right? Like that. I literally post it on my mobile, I write something up, maybe a couple paragraphs, write my experience, and I add a couple hashtags, and I post it. And you'd be surprised by how much engagement you'll actually receive on LinkedIn. I will post that after, because there's no internet here. I will post that after later tonight, and you'll see it on LinkedIn. And you'll be able to see is I actually get very strong engagement from it. And this takes a couple minutes. If you're writing content, you've got a question about content, something's bothering you, something's annoying, you don't know how to do it. Instead of just pushing your things out, give your expertise. If you're an expert, you got to share expertise. And making video, when people scroll through their LinkedIn, video starts playing immediately in LinkedIn. It starts to play on you. So you have this great opportunity to be able to capture people's attention much longer. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Before I get to them in a minute, I want to talk about LinkedIn Local. LinkedIn Local is a great way for you to meet your network in person. So let's say you're connected with someone on LinkedIn. There's a meetup. Actually, Risa will be joining us next week. Let's say you want to meet someone, let's met someone here, or you're connected with someone on LinkedIn, but you want to meet them in person, maybe to do business or network together. You come to these events, they're free. They're meetup, it's like a 20-minute panel with a 10-minute Q&A, free food and free wine. All right, we got it all. And also great people. Come out to LinkedIn Local. The link in the bottom right will take you to the Eventbrite page where you can Google it or email me or connect with me on LinkedIn and I'll send it to you. Ask me to send it to you. And what's great is that this is a way you can connect with people and make that relationship more authentic. That is much easier when you actually communicate and engage online on LinkedIn. It's actually much stronger. You'll find there's so many people, you may post something and you have 1,000 views, but why is it you only have 15 likes and 4 comments? Who are all these people viewing it and not liking, right? And it's obviously often people you know. It's really weird. People come up to me, they're like, "Hey, I saw your video. I saw your video on the lead generation forums. I really thought it was great." It's like, "Oh yeah, did you like it? Comment, share?" No, it's so funny. People will comment on how great your content is and never tell you. Like they'll see it, they'll enjoy it, and they won't tell you. So this is a great opportunity actually to connect with those people in real life. And I just think it's a lot of fun. So make sure you definitely come out. It's next week.